Welcome to Aberdeen, Scotland, a place known for its oil, but where the local population is also very fond of their sport. Rugby, golf, cricket would be ones to mention, but of course they're very passionate about football here. To date, Aberdeen FC is the only Scottish club to have won 2 European trophies, and they did so under legendary manager Sir Alex Ferguson. But the football season comes to a close, and all the more reason to direct your attention towards Curl Aberdeen. We're live from the World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship 2021. Japan will play Sweden. For Team Japan, we have Yuta Matsumura playing alongside Yoshida, or Yurika Yoshida rather, trying to improve on Japan's 2 5th-place finishes at this championship. For Sweden, they are reigning world champions. Oskar Eriksson playing alongside Almeida de Waal. We see the standings in Group B, Sweden on top. Undefeated so far, just perfect with 5 wins. Norway closely follow at 4 wins. Then we have Japan, New Zealand, Switzerland and USA all at 3 wins. China, England, Estonia and Finland make out the final 4. The games to be played this morning in Curl Aberdeen, we have New Zealand take on USA, England will play Norway, Switzerland to take on Finland, and then we have Estonia playing China. We'll keep you up to date on other scores as we progress through the game, but our main focus will be, of course, on Japan, Sweden. Mixed doubles play, we have 2 players, 1 male, 1 female. We have 1 pre-position stone per team per end, and both teams will place 5 stones each per end as well. The game is scheduled for 8 ends, and both teams will have 22 minutes of thinking time awarded ahead of the game. Of course, a timeout is available as well. And we see the players throwing stones 1 and 5, or the middle 3 stones. They are allowed to switch positions between the ends if they would like, but we have no takeouts until the 4th played stone. And with those pre-positioned stones, that means for a lot of action early on in each end. And of course, a power play can be utilized at some point during the game as well. We'll probably see that a bit later on in the game. For now, we'll see the center guard, the stone back 4, all ready to get the ball rolling here. My name is Sander Olvag. I'm joined by Alan Chalmers. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning, Xander. Lovely to be back. Very proud moment for me to sit alongside you, as you mentioned, Sir Alex, as we get things going.
Almeida de Waal will get the show going. It is a new teammate for Oskar Eriksson. Won the title last time we had the World Mixed Doubles hosted. That was in Stavanger 2 years ago now, of course. We didn't get to have the championship in Kelowna last season. And that's a perfect start for Almeida de Waal. Big shoes to fill, of course. Anna Hasselborg, a household name in curling, but I think they've done well. Of course, they've won 5 straight games, so far so good for Sweden. Big task for Japan. Yuta Matsumura will have his hands full this morning. And we see an early mistake.
Yeah, just maybe a little bit of nerves amongst the Japanese, playing such a global superstar as Oskar Eriksson.
Well, as a Norwegian, it never falls naturally for me to brag about Swedish people, but I think you'll find a lot of curlers and curling fans out there who arguably call maybe Oskar Eriksson the best curler in the world. Definitely in the top. If you start asking around, it just has everything. Great touch, great eye for the game, tactically, knows the angles, knows how to sweep.
Immense power.
There's not really any weaknesses for Oskar Eriksson. And of course, he's both reigning men's world champion and world mixed doubles champion. So I think he's making a strong case.
Yeah. Well, I hope we can stop talking about him now, because that's good enough. I think we've set his table out nicely for him. So let's just watch him play now. Hope he has a good game.
I'll just put a little pressure on him to perform in the game. We see Yurika Yoshida also again just with a half shot here for Japan, and I think good chance we'll see Sweden apply the pressure.
Yeah, had a chance there because having topped him up, he then played slightly heavy with his first stone and put 2 yellow ones right behind the tee. However, Japan have not taken that chance to capitalise on an early error, so he can redeem himself a touch here.
The only thing I will say about Oscar is, having played with them actually a tiny bit and then against him on a number of occasions, it doesn't necessarily come straight at the broom coming at the hack.
That's a brave call, Sander. That is such a brave call.
There's definitely a lot of touch and adjustment happening. I haven't looked at him too closely this week, but sometimes comes sliding in at the hack, you're not quite sure how he's going to solve it, but he's able to put the stone in the right place pretty much every time. So great feel for the game.
Yeah, good example there. He's just put that into position A. Don't think there's anything wrong with that one.
And the jacket comes off. It is a bit nippy this morning in Aberdeen.
Significantly colder, both on the ice, as a lot of players are wearing hats and their extra jackets on during the warm-up, and even more cold in the commentator's box this morning.
Certainly when you play those middle 3 stones, and if you sweep the stones yourself, you will warm up fairly quick. Run back for Yoshida. Will make contact here. That's a very good effort.
Valiant effort. He's unlucky that the yellows bounced back towards him and refrozen itself.
It's all tough for these run backs who just gonna have to be close and sometimes just hope it works out a bit better than it just did for Japan. Left-hander, Oscar Eriksson.
Looking for the triple lock.
I didn't want to touch the stones there. It's still pretty good. He's being very critical of himself. I believe he did win a handful of Swedish titles in mixed doubles before actually playing his first World Championship. Focusing mostly on his men's team, but eventually getting the chance to go to Worlds, and of course won the gold first try. Another run back for Yoshida. Again, makes contact.
Japan do have the hammer here. So there's one last red that they can possibly use to inflict some damage on the Swedish team here. Have to use it. Sweden swing another one round. I think that might be their only options under.
Yeah, you can see Oscar just having a think to see if they could possibly leave anything for Japan by playing the draw. Wouldn't think so, just put this top 4. Unless they make a run back triple, it might be very, very tough for Japan to score. Almeida Deval. Certainly up-and-coming star for Sweden. Playing with young skip Isabella Verano. They're obviously having a tough time breaking through behind the team of Anna Hasselborg. But I'm sure we'll see them in a championship soon enough. for now, a great chance for her to get some World Championship experience playing alongside Oscar.
Yeah, it's Olympics next year, of course, so the teams will possibly rotate round in the next Olympic cycle. Things can't stay the same forever, so you have to succession plan for the days where there will be no Nick Eden or there'll be no Anna Hasselberg. Sweden have got quite a good program, I think, for fostering their young teams and bringing them on.
Last stone, first end, Yuta Matsumura. Some trouble already in the early morning. Trying to slash his own red in here onto the yellows. This one curling early. How much will it curl? Way too much, and doesn't make any contact this time around here. Team Japan. It will be a big steal of 3 for Sweden. Very sharp from the get-go. And put the pressure on Japan. Too many half shots from the Japanese duo. And they'll have to concede 3 points. And that is a score after one end. Sweden lead 3-0.
Inte lätt att få poäng. Kör du där eller? Eller kör du här? Ja. Jag tror 85. 85-90 är bra. Ja, lite mer. Men i den regionen. En 10 år där en tiddragning är bra. Ja, sådär.
We'll get the second end started. It will be Almida Deval to play the first stone. 2017 World Junior Champion and 2019 Winter University Games gold medalist as well. Definitely gone through the ranks. It's sort of the progression you make as a young curler. You play the World Juniors. The Winter University Games used to be an under 28 competition. I think they've moved to age restriction to under 25. See J.D. Lind, coach for Team Japan from Canada, Calgary, Alberta, big curling city. Actually coached at the World Junior Curling Championships himself in 2007. I believe that the team of Charlie Thomas, they went back-to-back titles, and soon after that made the move to Japan and picked up a coaching job. And he's done very well ever since. Sebastian Kraup on the bench for Sweden, a long-time third under Niklas Edin, world champion. There's a pretty strong bench for Sweden, sitting next to Alison Kraviazuk as well, who played second for Rachel Homan, silver medal at the World Championship. I haven't done the counting, but as a whole team this week, I think Sweden probably has the most medals. Can't be far from it.
Canada got
Scott Pfeiffer,
Gushu and Pfeiffer.
That's true.
Murdoch is on the Scottish bench. Mowat, look at Mowat's resume, it's pretty strong. He's only 26.
分いいよ。8。ウォウウォウウォウウォウ。8入れていいよ。ウォウウォウウォウ。シューターちょっと開くわ。こっちは一旦方がいい。イエスだ。イエスだ。あ、上と良さそう。
Just trying to get more curl in that one, get closer to the nose of that yellow. Not push the red there for quite so wide. It's creating some room for Sweden. That goes shortly, but we'll give you a score update across the pad here. As you saw, it's Japan 0, Sweden 3, New Zealand 0, United States 2, England 0, Norway 1, Switzerland 1, Finland 0, and Estonia 0, China 2, but early days.
Försöka vicka in till linan.
Looking for a double here, I think, and roll in. Sounds pretty close. 1, 2. Won't roll too far, but 2 reds go.
Yeah, the opportunity was there. As you said, didn't quite roll far enough, so it's giving Japan a little chance to do a similar shot. Hit and roll in. The double would be nice as well, I guess.
Nej, exakt. Ja, 2 centimeter insida. Kanske man hade vicka kant. Blir en soffa, men då med. Känns gött att bara eliminera 2 också.
Yurika Yoshida. Silver medal from the World Women's Curling Championship herself, playing lead for Satsuki Fujisawa when they charmed the curling world in 2016. Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Very likable team. So to make a nice little hit and roll here. Fully buried shot stone. Matsumura happy with that one. Didn't have to kill the second yellow. It was more about where the shooter ended up here.
Så länge inte missar tunt. Missar en shot så kan det ju faktiskt bli dåligt också. Sätta ner den där. Frågan om det är tappen eller... Dragningen är inte mycket marginal, men... Det är lättare. Ja, kör den. Tappen. 10 fart. Samma som frysen typ. Frågan vi ska ha lite mindre is.
It's the first time they're really asking the question of Sweden here. In the end, I think the tap is the call. They were looking at the double, the straight freeze, but they'll come on the clockwise draw. It will be the outturn for Oscar. You'll see a very particular sweeping technique he'll employ is just not really moving the brush so much always, but just keeping it down, keeping the weight on it, but having to go for weight here, so it is some scrubbing required. Comes up a bit shy though.
Yep, a little shy. I think they were looking for that top 4 weight just to maybe bump the yellow one forward a bit. Didn't ever quite reach that far into the rings, and then because of the lack of weight, it's probably over curled a touch as well, taking any good angles off.
Those 2 yellows definitely a problem for Japan, controlling the front of the forefoot.
Looking at a couple of options, I think One of the original calls was to play the double takeout on the reds, keep the shooter across maybe on the far side of the rings there. Would open up the path to the 1 foot, so probably not the preferred call. Then they're looking at something in the other hand, which is probably to come around and lie in there, as you saw with they tap the brush, which is a long-term strategy goal. Either option great, I think, because it could give shots for Sweden to use.
Yeah, the double's not very easy. I don't think she'll see enough from the hack to maybe spill the top yellow far enough. They're looking at maybe corner freezing this yellow top 4, which is, I'm not sure if there's actually room enough to sit on the corner. More likely they'll end up squared on the face of it. This one, catch and curl. So Oscar coming up a bit light, so maybe just slightly slower path. Same shot available to Sweden again.
Ja, just nu har de både den och den. Båda ut. Jag gillar det. Vad tror du? Typ samma som mig. 10 fart.
Yeah, you can see how close that got to the guard there. Only because it was underthrown. The ice line was good if the required weight had been played.
Lite innan stolpfotskanten. 10 fart. 90.
So a fairly snug line here for Almeida Deval. A few options. You can tap it straight on the nose, onto the red. That would be the preferred option. Even if she taps it maybe at an angle, it should leave less room for Japan to score. Can even chip off the top red here if she's a bit wide for line. This is wide and it is running very high actually, and it's going to end up promoting the red stone. Where does it end up? Just in for third. Close to promoting that in for a second shot, and would have been a draw for 3. It wasn't that heavy, just did not finish for her.
Maybe over the week, Xander, we've seen this sheet a few times being played now, and that feels to be maybe one of the few bits on the pad where there's not as much curl. There must just be one line possibly that's not gripping as much. I've seen a few there just float down the line. Last stone, Japan trying to work out a way how to make sure they get more than a 1. I thought that the in-turn draw for him was an easier way to find the 4 foot. Does he think he can't get anything to get more than a 2? Not just draw here, Xander?
Yeah, I could play as you say, in-turn draw for him, being a left-hander. Counterclockwise draw. But looks like they're playing the double. Actually, don't even have to make the double here, I think. Even if you just straight jam it, I think they'll be lying 2, scoring the 2. So maybe feeling it's an easier shot.
Fraught with danger.
Throwers at discretion here. Last stone, second end for Japan, but this one's over curled. So it's just going to be the single point for Japan. Had the chance there. Matsumura.
So I think what we didn't want to be was tight, and I think that's probably what ended up being thrown. Puts some stones in danger. Not to worry. 1 point for Japan. After 2 ends, the score is Japan 1, Sweden 3.
Yuta Matsumura will get the third end going here. Not found his footing quite yet in the game. I think he's going to have to do it soon, though, because Sweden, like in most games so far this week, seem to be 1 point. Already 2 points ahead here with last home advantage. You really can't have them slip away any further. They'll be pretty good front runners as well. Even though it's hard to defend the lead in mixed doubles, we know the upweight ability of Oskar Eriksson.
Yeah, very strong in both positions, this team. So yeah, you don't want to give them too much of a head start.
Here we see the leaning on the brush. So they probably would have tested this home in Sweden. I know we've done that in Norway, that even just leaning on the brush, putting all your weight on it, and actually not scrubbing, you still get the stone to actually travel quite a bit farther. And it's just a bit more energy efficient. So I think you'll see whenever the stone is close, Oskar might just do a heavy clean just to keep the stone alive, and then start scrubbing if they need to carry it a bit farther.
Yeah, sure. So we've seen the development of Japan as the week's gone on. They lost their first couple of games. The first one was very one-sided. They then lost a tight game. Then they won a tight game. And then I think they've had two good wins after that. So a lovely path to be on. Need to make sure they can keep going like that. So but a tough game to do that on.
That's a very nice shot by Yoshida. Gets to the inside of the yellow.
Sätter jag den lite tjockt och de får frysa där så är det jobbigt. Jag kanske slår ner garden, vänta lite. Klippa den bara så är det fine. Försöka få touch på någon av dem.
You can see how that red stone is now angled on the yellow, so the yellow's angled away from the button. So if Japan ever makes a play, the yellow's gone and all the reds stay. That's why it's so important to get to the inside there for Yoshida, and they've caused some trouble. So for Sweden, they'll be running back to the guard, hoping to catch something just to open it up. Hard to be closer.
And that would have been a beautiful bonus if he'd managed to click that yellow, because it would have gone back onto the shot stone. It's always much easier when the WCF allows Sweden to play in yellow.
Yeah, no, always annoyed me when Norway played Sweden and Norway were playing Yellowstones, but it's obviously down to the fairness of competition to have the teams play an equal amount of yellow and red stones throughout a week.
So Japan just replacing the center guard that Oskar Eriksson ripped off the last time. Pretty good, good line.
Yeah, comes a bit closer to the ring, so it's going to make the run back a lot easier though for Eriksson. We're going to pop on over to New Zealand, United States. They're just playing next door to our sheet.
Yes.
Actually, for now, we'll just focus on the run back for Eriksson. I think he'll be pretty close with this one. Oh, there we go. Can't leave him two chances. Pretty perfect. So I'll try that again. New Zealand, USA. USA up by 2 after the first end. They stole 2 in the first end.
So Courtney Smith has a chance to knock up the red at the top of the rings there towards the button. I think there's a possibility of moving out the couple of USA counters for the big end. Connection point needs to be right though. This one's looking like it's really beginning to curl. Really beginning to curl. Looks tight to me. Has she got enough of it? No, not quite. Just curled over. You see all that? Just to the last few yards, just really went. Small opportunity gone, but 1 point to New Zealand. They now trail 2-1 after 2 ends.
Meanwhile, Yoshida, so close to perfect, just rubs on the guard, and it rolls out in the open. Not such a great spot to leave that one for Japan. Sweden with a chance to play a little hit and roll. They can see 2 buried under the guard.
Can just play come onto the top of the other yellow. Just a nice gentle running stone, looking to get that slight low side of the red into position. Locked on the yellow. Job done, thank you very much.
That's perfection. Maybe leaves a tiny piece of the yellow open. I think that would be a pretty tough shot to make. Sees enough from the hack. You could play peel, but
yeah, particularly from the left-hander's hack.
Lefty against a lefty. But it's a tough one. Catch it just a bit too thin. There's not going to be enough momentum transferred from the stones, from the red to the yellows, to kill either yellow. And of course, if you curl an inch too much, you just nick the guard, and it's an open draw for 3. Yuta Matsumura, the harder you throw it, the better. Obviously, the harder you kick at the hack, sometimes it's harder to be accurate.
Yeah, we know this guy can throw it hard.
Oh, there we go. And the second one, how far does it go? It will hang on the side. Those stones were so frozen. I'm not sure if it was really possible to make that second yellow go. Maybe Oscar with his biggest of pushes, extensions. Maybe there's enough firepower to squirt that one out, but...
Yeah, no physicist here, Xander, but if he'd hit less of the front one, but at the same speed, would that have taken more of the angle of the back one, as I say? Just speculating.
I think still was a pretty good effort by Matsumura.
I'm not criticising. It was a great effort. I'm just, as I say, more intrigued about the physics of circular objects.
Last stone, third end for Sweden. They have forced Sweden to make the shot here, and they're coming a different path, different turn.
I've seen this a few times. How difficult it is to play these across the shots, but made it.
Oh well, it's made. Helmita Deval makes it for 2, and great sweep by Oscar to hold it past the guard. They lead 5-1 after 3 ends. All smiles.
de goa, jag kollar upp så här. Menar de att ticka garden nu eller? Och bara, det var lugnt på garden. Okej.
Taking a look at the other results, we see USA up by 1 on New Zealand. Norway lead England 3-1. Switzerland with a 2-point lead on Finland, and of course we see China leading 3-0 on Estonia. And I believe we have power play, Alan. I'm only stuttering because it's quite cold this morning.
Yes, and much earlier than we've maybe seen it in other games so far, Xander. So you weren't even prepared for it that time. But what you can see at this early stage, 5-1 down, Japan feel it's time to play their power play earlier than as we've sometimes seen. What it means, of course, is that instead of centre line play, we've moved the stones all over to one side. Japan have chosen to put it onto the right-hand side as they play from the hack, in an attempt to play a more conservative end, really. I mean, make sure that they can have an easier shot to score a 2, possibly. We've seen it work a few times.
What's the advantage of a corner guard compared to a centre guard?
Well, Japan have the hammer, and traditionally, in 4-person game, if you are trying to score multiple, you would want your stones as far apart in the rings, and you would want corner guard cover, and that's why it's set up that way. Slightly nullified by the fact that Sweden have immediately gone first and hit the corner guard into the rings. Japan then have to replace it. However, it's deemed to be an easier way, I think, for the team that need to score more than 1 point. And it sometimes leads to 3. We've seen that as well. My gut feeling is it is quite easily counteracted by the first playing team. They've worked out a tactic to cancel it out.
I didn't really mention it, but it is worth mentioning that the first shot there by Almeida Deval was fairly excellent, neutralizing the corner. And as you say, Alan, when that shot is made, it's really kind of grinds to a halt for the other team and their power play.
Yeah, Japan didn't quite get their replacement corner guard in the right position. It's way too short. It's just barely over the hog line. You can see it's just at the top of the screen. Gave Oscar Eriksson loads of room to come around it, tap it back. He didn't manage to tap it through. However, Sweden already lying 2 in an end where Japan want to score more than 1. But a corner guard it is, so Japan almost obligated to play around it. Here it comes. Well past the guard. It's really going to start swinging now. It's going to over curl and inside the yellow. However, I think those reds are visible.
Väldigt nära chappen. Sen till utsida. Jag kollar om jag kan spela clearing. Ja, precis helat. 1-2 cent i luft. Känn 7, lite till. Där bra.
Just confirming, I can see the whole stone here and even slightly more, so they're playing a 7-second takeout. It's good controlled peel weight for Oscar. Not sure if he liked the throw here. Sort of pointing pointing to the barrier with his broom.
He's maybe just got away with one there. I think.
Just saying he pushed it a bit out on release there.
Klart man kunde spelat en normal där ute också, men... Ja. Nu visar det bra, jag ska bara släppa den. Tänk att jag kommer lite för tajt ibland, men lite för mycket marginaltänk på garden.
Sometimes it's a little tricky to play a hit that far out. You haven't played many stones there. Very typical. You find a bit more harder pebble, unbroken pebble, and sometimes that grabs. It might be a little slower as well, so sometimes you just play it a little safe.
Yeah, it's obviously the wider you go, the easier it is maybe just to be thrown offline a little bit. Try and correct it back with your hand. I think you saw Oscar, he felt he was just in the wrong position at the point release.
Sweden still lying to Yoshida, trying to corner freeze the top yellow.
So having to play some pretty high tariff shots here now to work their way into the two that they're looking for.
I mean, it's a very, very good attempt by Yoshida, but it's the type of shot that you really needed to make it perfect, or it's not worth all too much.
Yeah, she'd have liked to at least, I think, be in for touching that yellow. She might probably would have been lying 2 again still, but touching the yellow would have made it a little bit more useful down the line.
Yeah, not too concerned about hanging around there. That was the discussion, if they wanted to roll in to try and lie 3 or not.
Yeah, where that red was angled, I think if they'd start moving back in towards the rings, it could have created a little pocket at the back corner. Maybe not a very useful pocket, but it would have been there all the same. So happy to hit on the high side, roll out the rings. 5-1 up, they don't need to be taking too many risks right now. Matsumura trying to inject a little bit of energy into the Japanese approach here. He was very animated on that one. So looking to make a play on the reds. Not the play they were looking for, however. Well, a nod of apology, I think, for that one.
Lucky, says Matsumura.
So looking to hit the first red a bit more thicker than that, and make a play with the one right behind it. However, it overcurled in the moment. Sweeping was holding that one, and with the lucky ricochet, full stone jam in the back one behind the corner guard. To lie second counter.
So I believe Sweden will be chasing the red stone half open behind the guard. Remove that. Try and sit 2. Ideally, try and roll maybe a foot towards the center line, because that's going to leave a much tougher angle to play the double for Japan. A dead nose, and the double is on. You roll a bit inside, the double is less than likely.
Here it goes.
Will roll a bit inside and That is perfect from Almeida Deval. You can see now that if you want to make the double on the yellows and stick, it's very thin. It's possible, it's just very, very hard. And that will roll inside from Sweden. Made it that hard. Is it worth the try, though? You're down 4 on Sweden. This is your power play end. You take the risk. Taking a single point, is that really enough at this point? That's what you start thinking.
They're sweeping the path. Wonder if they're going to go for it.
It's a short game as well. After this, only 4 ends left. One's going to be a Sweden power play. Does look like they might go for the double. It's either the hit and roll in for the single or the double. We'll see.
Skinny, skinny double.
I think it is. Yuta Matsumura, last stone, 4th end. Really tough one.
He's hitting an 8th of the stone. That might be too much.
It will be too much. We'll make the double though. And almost take the shooter on the wing, but it spins up and out. Just a 1 for Japan. Not too far away.
Almost a catcher here. Yeah.
So it's just a single point for Japan in their power play end. Unfortunate for them. So it's Sweden taking a 3-point lead coming into halftime. They'll have hammer. They'll have the power play in hand as well. Looking all Sweden so far as they look to stay perfect this week and pick up a 6th straight win. A short break for the teams. I'll take a look at the highlights from the first 4.
So we are just going to use the time to look back over the first 4 ends of play. Great start by Sweden. Hot off the blocks this morning. Left Japan a pretty tough angled raise in, even to score 1. Matsumura rubbing the sleep a bit from his eyes in the first end. However, he goes for the raise, hits it slightly too straight, and it's a big early steal of 3 to Team Sweden. Into the second end. Japan lying 1 as they came to play their final stone. Again, another combination shot required to open up the house a little bit for the 2 we reckon it could have been. Again, just tight on it, over curls, and nothing more than a 1 for Japan. It's been relentless pressure all the way through. Into the third end. A bit more open this end ended up being. Chance here for the tap back for 2. Thrown by Almeida Deval. We've seen stones curl pretty big species in the first half of the week, and Oscar just guided that one down for a straightforward 2 ultimately. Sweden opened up a 5-1 lead. Japan had taken an early use of their power play. Hadn't really worked as well as they would have hoped. Left Matsumura a very thin attempt at a double takeout, which was very close. We see it hits the first one and touches the second one, but not enough to jam it. Leaves Japan lying 1, and unfortunately for them, they are going to the halftime break 2 to 5 points down, having used their power play. There you can see that Sweden had just been better overall at every discipline so far this morning. Really just not giving Japan a break. All the games currently on their halftime break, so we can see our game. Japan 2, Sweden 5, New Zealand 2, United States 5, England 1, Norway 7, Switzerland 5, Finland 2. And the tight game across the far sheet, Estonia 4, China 4. Estonia having taken a 4 to get back in the game.
幅どうする？
多分普通にしっかり取っていいと思う。こっちも上がってるよね。
上がってる。
相手ずっとここで投げてて回ってて、ゆりかのここで投げて一回前ギリギリだったから。
Något nytt initiativ här nu tror jag.
Ja, tror jag bra.
Förra var ju lite lös, den var ju från 8.
Precis. Ja, linjen var fin. Kommer de i samma situation så vi kan ju minska isen lite, spela lite plusfart. Och så kan vi komma upp och så tappa ut deras lite bakom 10. Det kommer ju bra där.
Ja, det är det.
Ja, jag hinner fan kanske inte se vart han går.
Teams back onto the ice here now for the second half of this game. We're in Aberdeen, Scotland for the World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship 2021. Japan plays Sweden this morning on the sheet closest to the bleachers, but on the bleachers we only see a couple of physios. And yeah, I think I can only see physios. No crowds in, of course, because of the pandemic. But I think all players very happy to be able to be here and safe environment, competing for gold medals, but also a spot at the Olympic Games in Beijing next year. I'm Sander Rolvag, joined by Alan Chalmers. Does not look like Sweden are too stressed. They seem to be pretty comfortable, and as should they. 5 wins on the board, looking strong for a 6th here.
Yes, under this group, Sweden are clear. The picture for both World qualification and Olympic qualification is getting clearer every session. But I think if Sweden were to go through this game and win it, they would go 6 wins from 6. It'd be very close to calling them as one of the earlier qualifiers.
Okej, bra fart. Farten var perfekt för den.
Ja, bra skött. Ja, det är 14-1 på deras förra.
Ja, det är 13,75.
Slight mistake from Almeida Deval. She's looking to tap the red. Just think she just over-iced it a bit, so never curled up in time. So great follow-up by Yoshida to tap that Yellowstone and sit in front. Looking over on sheet C, center court, it's England playing Norway. Norwegians leading 3 shots to 1. And we have last stone here. There, the yellow, just one lonely red stone in there. Kristin Moen Skaslien will look to chip that out and leave the shooter scoring. Could be 4 here. Husband Magnus Nedergotten on the sweep. Off and on, all the way down. That's always a good sign. And the shot is made. A huge 4 on the scoreboard. Norway takes a pretty strong 7-1 lead into halftime. The mixed doubles specialists and curling World Cup winners look pretty strong as well this week. Did lose to Sweden, but so did everyone else so far. Oscar Eriksson peels the center guard. Just looking to keep things open. We mentioned this in the first half of the game. But they're pretty good front runners, even in mixed doubles play, where it's generally a bit harder to play defensively.
Yeah, it's difficult for Japan to get too much set up, knowing that Oscar the Destroyer, we call him in our house when we watch the Sweden game. I know that's not his general nickname, but we call him Oscar the Destroyer. Just destroyer of dreams.
Oscar's nickname would be Ogge,
which is?
I'm not sure if I'm going to go into it.
It's family viewing, is it? Right. We'll
Nothing-
gloss over that. I don't know why you
nothing-
brought it up to begin with. Then.
There's nothing bad. It's just not sure if it really means too much. They all have nicknames on the Dean team, except Nicholas really. Nick, I guess, would be his nickname. But Rasmus Verano is Ralle, and then Kristoffer Sundgren is Krippa.
Is Oscar not the professor or something like that? I heard.
That is true. He does have that nickname.
Did he give that one to himself?
I don't think so. He was known as the professor at a young age. I felt like that nickname has kind of slipped away a bit. Why he was named the professor is because he was very, very tactically adept at a very young age. He played, well, he brought his team to the World Junior Championship final back in 2008 in Östersund, Sweden, and I believe he was only 16 at the time, which is very impressive in an under-21 competition. Did lose to Chris Pleiss of USA, but of course he went back to win the World Junior title in 2011 in Perth, Scotland. So I certainly remember losing to him that year. So
I was going to say, was there anyone else in attendance?
It was a tough year. Peter de Cruz skipped for Switzerland, and Braden Mascawi skipped for Canada.
Gado.
Jag tyckte den kom lite också.
Gado ka.
Trodde ändå jag hade styrt ut den lite, men
Får du nog
känns som,
gado ka.
är det bara lite på den här sidan känns som de kallar lite.
So I can see how Sweden's been able to keep this very open.
Däremot om den skulle ligga lite på den sidan linan, samma sättning, och tror jag den skulle gå rakare. Men bara att den får komma från linan lite så.
You can hear Oscar talking about the shot very specifically, about the line, the curl, the ice, the release. It's something we're used to seeing Team Edin. Just extremely specific communication about the throwing and how the zones are acting, depending on how you throw it, where you throw it, the speed, etc.
Yeah, they've been very lucky to be able to spend hours of technical time looking at videos and recording every last little bit of detail. Ice conditions, release points, sweeping techniques. Turned it very much into a science.
It is very much a science, but at the same time, it's so much about feel. So when you play out there, you know, the curl and the times can be similar or the same as back home, but just the feel of the ice could be very different, depending on just how hard the pebble feels, how big the pebble feels. Now, obviously, the pebbles used on the ice can vary in size and shape. Just all these very small things. It's hard to pinpoint sometimes, but as a player, just the surface underneath you can feel just a little different.
Yep, a different sound. You can hear different sounds sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes the sound is different. It's true, which sounds like it shouldn't make any difference, but it's all the small things that make a difference in the end. And sometimes you get a really good feel for it. Sometimes not as much, and players will have their different preferences on what ice should be or what ice works best for them. But I think, generally speaking, as long as the ice is running quick and it's curling a lot, teams are very happy, and we've seen both this week, and it's been very consistent. That's probably maybe the most important thing for curlers, is that the ice is the same game in, game out, from start to finish. Not so fun to have to adjust to a new speed and curl every day at a championship.
No, and I think so far we can say that the consistency across the sheets and the days and the times has been immaculate.
Yeah, I haven't really seen much difference.
This is the first time this set of players have played a morning game. The draw has been switched around, so instead of the A group always having the morning games, we now have the B group getting the morning games. So this is the first time they've had to get out of bed and they'd have a breakfast and then come along to the rink. You often find, certainly in a club rink, that the morning ice can be super quick. For some reason, lying dormant all night and then prepped.
We see Matsumura not able to make the double. Was hoping to make the double and get the force at least, but leaves one yellow counter for Sweden. So
could this be an early bath?
Yeah, you maybe think so. I think you have to play a minimum of 6 ends anyway, but Almeida Deval with a chance to draw for 2 here. It's looking all Sweden so far.
Du var ganska aktiv ändå. Känns bra.
Oscar just keeping the broom down. No problem here, I think, on the last stone for Sweden in this 5th end to score the deuce and take a 7-2 lead over Japan.
Snyggt. Gött att komma ur det igen.
Bra skött. Ja, snygg sten där.
Ja, det blir bra.
Den där.
Blonk. Ja, det blir ju äckligt för dem nu. Då har de ingen frys längre upp.
Had a good setup there, Japan, on the start, but Oscar able to tidy up the end.
Ja, sen gör ju de sin perfekt. Lägger de lite kort, då kan man alltid bara slasha dem, för ligger ändå på
Still talking about
Men nu gör ju hon sin bra.
the shots played in the previous end here, Sweden.
Ja, grymt.
Bra
Nice.
vänt.
Det är skriket från...
Taking a look at all the scores in Curl Aberdeen this morning, Alan.
Yes, okay, so we're going to start with Sheet B. It's New Zealand 2, the USA 5, England 1, Norway 7. Switzerland open up a small lead. Switzerland 5, Finland 2, still Estonia 4, China 4.
Ja, du har väl spelat typ alla där, va?
Ja, det har jag.
Typ en nolla.
Noll.
Ja, jag tror det är bra.
Ganska bra spår.
Ja. Noll med ett fint släpp där så.
Jag tar 12-fotskanten.
Japan, Sweden.
Borde vara bra.
Almeida Deval playing stones 1 and 5 for the Swedish side.
Gav den mycket fart.
Okej. Tycker den känns bra, lite kort.
Okej, ligger...
I guess it was. I guess we feared Sweden could potentially see this game out early,
Ligger fint.
hoping, of course, for a close battle. But
Ja.
5-point lead here for Sweden. It's an uphill struggle at best for Japan. Almeida Deval not making things any easier by placing that in the absolute perfect spot.
きっちりフリーズされてる
Bra.
3センチぐらい空いてるぐらい。
オッケーちょっと狭めにもらうかな、うん
OK。ちょっとタイトめ。ベッド
ベッドいいよ78
クリーン。イエス。
8
イエス。
8
イエス。ギリギリギリギリ。
8
イエスイエスイエスイエス。ギリギリギリギリギリギリ。
9
イエスイエスイエスイエスイエス。上がりすぎそう。
Nice follow-up by Matsumura. It's all tapped. That's nice to create a bit more room there. When you have last stone, freeze up that yellow.
Typ inte spela någon där, jag tror det känns bättre
Vi kan
där.
spela här.
So just a little while back, we had a pretty good shot here on the Estonia-China. It's worth showing, Alan. Estonia trailing by 4.
Sure, we made reference to earlier on that the game had been tied up, so we're just going to see the shot here. Marian Ruhlman coming round with a gentle tap back weight required to remove the one China stone that's in play. Working it hard. Lil sweeps it. That one disappears and they retain the red on the left-hand side. Beautiful shot for the 4, and from 4-0 that became a 4-all tied game, so glad we had that one on film.
Ja, fortsätt.
Oscar Eriksson follow up that great shot by Japan with a little tap of his own.
6
Ja, lite bara.
Nej, styr ut den ändå.
Men jag tyckte ändå att den kändes bra.
Nice game.
So it's a well set up end so far. 3 good shots
こうだったレースだ
in the ideal spots. Looking to keep that record going with another one coming in here. Full sweepers on this one. I think this one's going to come up on the short side.
Ner den lite.
Behöver inte vara
what a
tokoffensiva
shame.
på den. Bara frysa här så krymper vi boet rätt bra också.
Ja, det gör vi.
Känns som alla tappar som råkar bli så här och studsa ut så de får någon dubbel in. Så ligger vi rätt dåligt.
Ja, skulle vi hamna lite kort där,
Exakt.
då är det också bra.
Här är bra.
Ja, spela där då.
Ja.
Undrar om det är typ 14 hit.
Ja. Vad tror vi? Lite innan fotfotskant, eller där, ja precis, där blir bra.
So you can see that although Japan lie 1 at the moment, Sweden not necessarily looking to make too much of a play in it yet. They'd rather lay another trap, putting another guard in front of their own yellow. Top 4 weight, this will be the ideal weight for this shot.
Lite
That's
tajt
okay.
i linjen.
En tight.
Lite, ja, linje.
Nära.
Linje. Och bara,
Just coming up
här.
short. I think the line was probably the #1 objective.
Det är mycket tjong.
Ja.
Oh, you can hear his exasperation.
14-7.
14-0 hade varit bra.
Ja.
こんぐらい。
半分
半分よりこっち3分の1でもいいぐらい。
okej.
Åh, tänk att ha haft en sån här vid lunchbordet.
Men vadå?
En sån här stor.
Jaha. Ta med den hem.
Oscar taking a rest on the umpire chair. We have seen him sitting down on occasion, just reserving energy for what looks like is going to be playoff games for Sweden.
Good effort by Japan. They tried to play the drive up,
Känna igen det.
change things around a bit. They made contact with something on the way through,
Kan ligga 4 nästan.
Men om vi ska lägga
the last stone that Oscar played. So they've opened up a little bit of a path,
så här.
Eller slå den här.
kept some reds in the minor scoring positions at the moment.
Ja, om vi spelar den. Även om vi bara skulle vicka in,
Ja.
vad kan bli dåligt om vi skulle vicka
Jag var inte längre.
här och spela typ en 2.
Frågan om jag kan få ut den dock. Lite
Känns som
undersidan.
den
Kommer nog
sitter
haka tag i
lite så.
7an.
Ja, det tror jag.
Looking at some exhibition shots now, Xander.
Ja,
Där.
jag tror det. En vanlig clearing.
Ja,
Vicka in där.
vicka in bara.
Ja, ta lite tunnare också. Vad är det? Halvträff?
Ja,
Couldn't quite make after, just wanted to roll into the pack there, or play the double. I think the double's quite hard. The red will quite often jam.
Allt tjockare är okej, tror jag.
okej.
Not sure if anyone's noticed, but you'll see Oscar actually wears 2 different type of shoes from different brands. He's got one comfortable shoe on his left, and then he's got the Teflon slider on the right, but they're not the same pair. They did not come in the same box. We have seen some players do that the same before.
Lite sättningen.
Does he have a right-handed brother who wears the other half?
Ja, eliminera en röd i alla fall.
That would be perfect, wouldn't it? And yeah, so if you're not quite familiar either with the curling shoes, one has a Teflon slider underneath, and that's what most curlers slide on. Of course, we've seen some players with steel as well.
Yeah, they were fashionable for a while. Used to make a racket on the ice. I'm sure as an ice maker, you had your reservations about those, Xander.
As long as you cool them beforehand, you're good to go. You can see the shoes got some wear and tear. I mean,
Yeah, those are old favourites, those ones.
all the polish is coming off the stone because Oscar would be catching a lot of rocks as a vice skip for Nicholas Edin. And that kind of takes off the polish. But we talked so much about feel earlier in the game, and the shoes for a curling player can be a huge part of the feel. And some players, they'll swap shoes quite often, maybe every season. I know players swap, you run through 2 pairs a season, but also know like Nicholas, I think he's kept the same at least sliding shoe for about 7 years. So that's really just a bit down to preference. Let's see Yoshida trying to move some yellow granite here. That's pretty good.
That's useful.
Yeah, it leaves Sweden lying a shot stone, but they have now a couple of reds in behind cover. Sweden need to be a bit careful.
Yeah, whilst we're looking at the shoes, I don't know if you noticed, Xander, that the Japanese tried to play the same hit and roll in to the center, but didn't make it, left that yellow across the far side. So that could be a usable angle, even if Sweden were to put the straight line guard on it.
Timeout for Sweden. It's a good time to mention that it's Coach Sebastian Kraup's birthday today. So happy birthday, Sebastian. I think I'll be pleased with another Sweden win.
Absolut. Tar man lite tjockt och bara tappar ner en så kan det bli en tjapp dubbel.
Ja, det känns bättre att frysa här.
Det andra är att lägga garden här, tvinga att sätta den här. Den här är ju typ omöjlig för 4. Ja, så länge vi kommer vi in bättre än den, även om vi kallar över och hamnar här, ja men då är det för 3 och då leder vi med 2 i alla fall, så har vi powerplay. Ja, försöka få in den här.
Ja, jag tror det.
Den. Ja, vi vill inte dutta för mycket, för då fri. Ja, precis. Vad tror vi då för att komma dit? Så. Tänker cornern är lite i vägen.
Ja, vi har ju haft typ här innan ni har dragit. Där borde vara bra för att gå förbi cornern, tror jag.
Jag tror det borde inte vara för mycket is.
Nej.
För det känns som det curlar ju när man kommer in lite där.
Ja, det gör det. Du drog ju 14-7 till
It's really the first stressful moment for Sweden. They know if they make a mistake here, a score of 4 could be within reach for Japan. Talking about a few different options there. Thinking they could guard and leave the run back. And that would be for maximum 3. But in the end, they're going to come in and try and corner freeze the redstone. That sits at a 2 o'clock position in the forefoot. A little tighter line than the button draw, so they're just not 100% sure where to put the broom. This one curling early. Oscar doing his best to keep it past the guard.
Good for weight. Around the guard now.
Oh, this looks pretty good here. Lost the line a bit. Was hoping to try and line at least second or third shot. Ends up lying for 4th, so it's a nose hit for 3. Slightly miscommunication there.
Bra spel. Ja, kanske fel beslut på min, men andra hade varit.
I think Oscar thought he had the line there, so he let up a bit.
Samtidigt kommer lite djupt och så gör de den också. Bara försökt sätta vicken där.
Does limit Japan to 3 at least.
Yeah, I think any of the shots that was going to be left was going to be tough for a 4 anyway. But they might not have even gone for. They might have played a safe draw for 3 to try and keep themselves in the game.
Not a gimme still for Yuta Matsumura. Last stone, 6-10.
It's a Scottish golfing word there. This one's not drawing.
Oscar says it's good.
Coming now.
I'll take his word for it.
The back one. Yes, it did.
There we go. 3 points for Japan. They come back. So still a bit of life left in this game. Japan with 3 points on the board, but Sweden will have a 7-5 lead. We'll see if they choose to use their power play or keep it. 2 ends to go here, and Curl Aberdeen.
Håller vi den sidan lite öppen som jag dragit med på.
Ja.
Oskar.
Wrong color. Sometimes I put our rock here when we have first rock too. It's like, ah, damn it. Not used to the mixed doubles yet.
Yeah.
We are setting up for another power play end, Alan. Sweden will choose to use their power play. Of course, if they didn't and scored, they wouldn't be allowed to use their power play in the 8th end. You can only use it when you have the last stone advantage. So in one case, you're better off using it before it's too late.
Yeah, puts it a slightly different perspective now, because Japan will not try and counteract, I don't think. This time they are wanting guards, preferably center guards, so they will just put down a center guard here now. Imagine Sweden will try and come round their corner.
The mixed doubles discipline is still quite new, and especially the power play is quite new. You know, the game, first World Championship back in 2012, but we didn't have the power play. There's been a few rule changes since then. And I wonder if some teams might consider not using their power play here actually, and speculate and just maybe giving away one. You can keep the power play for the last end. If they are forced there, Sweden, they'll be 3 up. Still fairly good.
Yeah, it's a useful tool to have. They don't have to play it. They could have just played this end through conventionally and then saved it. They don't need to use it.
Sweden come around the guard. We will pop on over to England, Norway. It does look like the English are facing a bit of trouble, Alan, a bit of bother.
Yeah, just that brief overhead view we saw there. There was, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4 Norwegian counters, all very close. There was a path to the button. I think there was also a path to cut to the back of the button if you were to use some backing. It's pushing back the tide a little bit, I think, here by the English. Can they get the rollover? No, just a flick on the front one, and only one reduction. So that's another 3 still by Norway. 11-1, and the English brother and sister team, Anne and Ben Fowler, said enough's enough for this morning, and graciously conceded. So stuff to work on, I would imagine, over the lunch break. They'll be back later on.
Scandinavians looking pretty strong in this group. They had a pretty good battle. Came pretty close in the end. The game, Sweden won, of course. You can see Sweden will be very happy to try and score their 2 here.
Very well set up for it so far after the first half of the end.
I think Japan can get the force. It's still game on.
Om de kommer göra det?
Ja.
Ja, det borde de göra.
Yes.
So Yoshida trying to use the many guards that are available on the left-hand side. Try and make a play around the very front one. I think trying to get to the red stone behind it and then push it forward, but that one's just over-curled. It's caught the guard, and as it's been her speciality so far this morning. She's ticked the guard and then caught another stone full over in the back circles. Leave her lying 1, however, it will disappear fairly shortly, I think. There you can see that the direct player and player comparison. No surprise that Oscar is leading the charge, but have to play pretty well to outscore Oscar on a good day.
Drog ganska mycket själv för att vara 9-4.
Det var 10-4.
9-4.
9-4, okej.
The title 2 years ago in Stavanger was the first one for Sweden in the mixed doubles. Of course, they had 4 straight silver medals between 2012 and 2015.
Ja, då ligger de andra kanske. Ja.
Per Norin, some of those ones.
Per and Camilla had 3 of those silver medals.
Öppet i mitten fortfarande också så.
Vad sa du?
Öppet i mitten fortfarande också så.
Of course, it's Switzerland who's been the biggest mixed doubles nation. They've won 7 gold medals since the first championship in 2008. Also Hungary and Russia with 2 titles each.
There we can see the women competitor comparative numbers, and Yoshida's not having a bad game, 60 odd % there. However, Almeida Duval is also having another excellent game. Shot high numbers yesterday, keeping that up today.
Försöka bara ta den så.
Okej.
Där eller den tjocka chappen så.
Ligga kvar.
Om jag dörstickar den där, då har han trippen här. Frågan om det är värt att spela mjukare. Försöka göra så.
Ta den så i hålet. Stanna kvar.
Ja.
Typ en normal.
Nej, jag tror bara spela den. Jag får ju trippen. Jag åker ner och kollar. Jag bestämmer mig. Ja, spela den!
Vilken fart?
7:a.
Okej.
Halvträffa.
Ja.
Redstone in a slightly awkward position here, not too much of a bother for Eriksson. He'll probably have to sacrifice one of his counters to get rid of it.
Ja. Ja. Hårt.
Unless he can thread this back needle. Probably does.
Perfect.
Millimeter tjockare. Bra skippat. Millimeter tjockare, då ligger den kvar faktiskt.
Oscar joking that if he caught it a millimeter thicker, he might have saved the back one as well to lie 5.
You can see the problem the Japanese team face here. There's yellows everywhere.
Yeah, well, they had to put everything on the line here, Japan. The score line does not matter in curling. Not like in other sports where like goal difference in football can make a difference. It does not in curling, so it's all about just winning or losing. No point in losing gracefully. Go big or go home. And that's why Matsumura will not hit any of the yellows. Won't care if he gives up a big end here. The only chance of actually winning the game is to attempt the freeze here.
Having to work this pretty hard. Don't think it's going to reach the freeze. No. Yeah, just a slightly tighter line there and then the button draw, so maybe perhaps a couple of feet slower down that path. Didn't seem to panic too hard for weight and just pulled up. And Sweden with a chance to score big here. I don't think they'll be too concerned if it's 3, 4, or 5. Just get the red one going. Should put the nail in the coffin for the game. Almeida Duval, last stone, 7th end, a little tight on the line here. But will do enough to score 3, or 4 rather. And 4 is more than enough for Sweden. Game over. Japan will concede.
Thank you, good game, good luck.
Again, very strong performance from Sweden. I think they came firing out the hack this morning with a steal of 3 in the first end. In the end, final score is 11-5 in favor of the Scandinavians. So we won't see the 8th end played here. Sweden stay perfect. Undefeated so far here in Aberdeen. We'll take a look back at the final highlights from the game and bring you up to date on other scores. Perhaps see what happens elsewhere in Curl Aberdeen this morning. We'll try and get a few words in with Team Sweden as well.
Over there, both of us, or both of us? Yeah. Yes. You're only talking to me, so I wasn't sure. Do I need to put on the mask?
So we've got time just to look back at the highlights of the second half of the game. Sweden had a healthy half-time lead at 5 points to 2. To keep the end very clear. Some big hits from Oscar through the middle, and ultimately Almeida Deval had a very simple draw anywhere in the rings. Was going to count 2. She puts it into the 1 foot just about there, and that's a 2. So 7 points to 2, Sweden led. Had a good end built up here. There was an excellent shot before this, which had allowed Japan the potential of a 4. It was neutralized by a reasonably good draw in, and ultimately Japan had a gentle tap back for a 3. It was not going to quite ever be enough, we felt, but it was well played all the same. There was a 3 to Japan, to them to 5 points. However, Sweden still had the power play left to utilize. And there you can see, as we played the last stone, there was a lot of yellows in the rings and 1 solitary red line second counter. Almeida Deval throws some heat at this one. Oscar sweeps it, loses a counter there, and they take the 4. And Japan said, that's enough for this morning. Thank you very much. And let's hear from the winning team.
Congratulations, Team Sweden. Looked like you were firing out from the get-go this morning. Steal of 3 in the first end. Is that one of the keys to your game, to just be on point from the very start?
Yeah, I think so. It's always good to be on it from the start, and to get a lead early really helps.
Oscar?
Yeah, you know, mixed doubles, everything can happen. So even a 3 or 4 point lead, you're never safe, as you can see in the 6th end. We're having a good setup, and I just missed the double, and they make a good tap, and it's a close game again. So.
Almeida, you're playing with the reigning world champion here, and you have some big shoes to fill. Anna Hasselborg, the previous teammate.
For sure.
How does it feel coming into a championship like this? I mean, it's obviously going well, but take us through how it's felt.
It's mainly just been really, really fun to play again. It's not been too many competitions this season, so we're just having fun and taking one game at a time.
What do you have to say about your new teammate, Oscar?
The way she's shooting makes my job easy.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Sweden, and keep it going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, thank you, Team Sweden, for those insights into the game. We're going to join the Estonia-China game because we've got some time because of that early concession on sheet A. So the current score there, you can see we are in the 7th end. It's Estonia 6, China 5. There's a power play in operation, the Chinese power play. They're lying 2 well-buried shots behind the corner guards. Estonia were just trying to play it in behind the front one. Just overthrown slightly, just run through the back a little. So not just what Harry Lille was looking for. He was wanting to put some pressure on the Chinese team, make them work for their multiple score here. However, they've got a free draw. There you can see, just ran too deep.
Last stone for Team China. Yang Ying. Pretty open draw here. Pretty much anywhere in the house to score the 3. And I think this shot is made, Alan. No issues there.
Nope, very good power play.
Right on the lid. 3 points for China. They will now grab the lead, go ahead of Estonia. 8-6. Math is hard this morning. 1 end to go. Estonia still has power play in hand.
Power play that side.
Make one.
Okay. First one. Great.
Sorry? Behind one guard. So they probably pick.
Okay. So they take the other side.
So as expected, Estonia are going to use their power play, looking to hopefully set up this very safe 2. If things go well, they've got a chance to also take a 3 or more under their power play, win the game.
Yes. If they don't make the
Another well-known face on the bench there. If anybody recognised beneath the cap and the mask, that was Derek Brown, once of these parts, as in Scotland, and made his way onto the Estonian bench.
Okay. Nice.
Time is ticking for Team China, so they'll get started here in the 8th end. Both teams, though, have more than 3 minutes of thinking time to play the final end. Should not be a huge element to the 8th end here. Time.
The stones are set up on that side, yep.
Yeah, China looking to come around and freeze the red. This looks pretty good from Ying Yang. Perfect. Really good shot. And those are tough to play, because we talked about it before. When you play all the stones to the button all game, to then make that switch and know the line and wait to make a corner freeze around the corner, that's just very good play.
Yep, good spot there. We'll see Team Estonia follow that one.
Estonia looking to make a little tap on the yellow, I would think, to try and free it up. Get to the nose. Just tap it away. Actually, will nudge in behind the guard. That is an excellent shot by Maria Thurman.
Excellent riposte.
I thought the first one was good. And the second one is even better. 2 buried for Estonia, and China not allowed to play a hit quite yet.
Nice little satisfied smile with after that one. She liked that.
See the numbers for the male players. 71% for Harilil, just 62% for Lingxi. We do expect the numbers to be a bit lower in mixed doubles than the 4-person game. It's a lot tougher just to be the 2, and every shot is very difficult. High level of difficulty for shots in mixed doubles. So I see the very best teams maybe in around 80%. Actually, Sweden has an average of 89%, 89.6% so far this week. That is unbelievable numbers.
That is very high, isn't it? You see those numbers in the fours sometimes, you think that's crazy shooting. But to get that consistently across the week, just under 90%.
Yeah, Norway's in around 83% and Scotland at 80. Everyone else is below that 80 mark.
Yeah, and but certainly if you throw good numbers, you tend to get the wins. And Sweden and Norway are leading the way in the Group B.
Okei, suunnilleen. Sun!
Ai nyt sun!
Sun! Kun tulee! Sun!
Takavalka!
Sun! Pyörä!
Estonia lying well and on their own power play end.
I think they're looking to freeze the back yellow here.
I think so. When it started curling, I thought they'd called the corner freeze on the back one, but I think you're right. I think they were trying to play down the centre one more.
Yeah, I was honestly not sure in the end if that was
Betwixt and between.
I would think they should have frozen the corner. Maybe they were just trying to call an audible there and get onto the back yellow because it wasn't curling. Timeout for China. So Tomi Rantamäki out of Finland will come out for a talk.
Jah, aga siis ma mõtlen nagu siis kui me hakkasime arutama, siis mul korra tuli sarnane nagu USA, aga samas ma mõtlesin, et siin on meil vaja punkte ja siis ma mõtlesin asetada mitte nagu lüüa.
Halb isegi, sellest on enam parem.
Kes sa kaidid ka nii hästi? Küll ütlesin tagavalge, vaata, aga ta lihtsalt nagu harjaga läheb nagu...
So it looks like Tomi Rantamäki has told his team to corner freeze the red stone on the left-hand side.
Yeah, they're very much looking to, I think at this point, make sure that Estonia can only score 2. There's no point doing anything daft. I think they've got the chance to nullify those 2 reds by corner freezing one, making it difficult for Estonia to make more than that.
Tomi would know Estonia well, I think. Just a 2-hour ferry from Tallinn, Helsinki. I'm sure he brings some knowledge from on the European teams to China as coach.
Yep, he's probably seen a lot of these teams, European Championships over the years, men's and ladies.
Looks pretty close here. It's a very good shot. I don't think it's for second.
Yeah, he's still in a difficult position. So we're just going to have a look at the final stone of the 8th end. You can see that the score is New Zealand 4, United States 6. The States had the hammer, Joe Polo.
Maybe a little hot.
Here, just Tabitha Peterson said a little hot, so it's a tap back weight. Looking to hit one of the New Zealand stones firmly on the nose. They were lying 3 as he came to play. Erred on the right side by throwing it a little heavier than they first thought. Swept it well, and although they lost a 1, that was sufficient. So the States closed that one out 6 points to 5.
Arilel. Again, coming on to the back yellow. Maybe that's the short stone. Hard to tell for me from here. I seem fairly content with the result. Very hard to get to the yellow close to the tee line now, of course, after that excellent freeze by China.
Yeah, so it looks like it's red, then yellow, then red, then yellow as you go around the circle in a clockwise direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's hard just to see Estonia taking the 3 at the moment.
行，拿顺时逆水。
Suund on hea.
See this one beginning to swing away, working hard in the sweeping. It's gone low. And does that open the door a little bit? Can you get round there and tap it sufficiently?
Võtame aja või?
Would that make a difference?
See sama väga ei saa teha, mida ma tegin, sest ma tulin nii napilt kaitsest. Ei, nagu... Jah, ma tulin nii napilt kaitsest, vaata, ja see tõi ainult siia selle.
Ma arvan, et see on, noh.
Estonia have called a timeout, so there's some travel time because the Estonian bench is at the far end on this one. So
Ei saa, seda ei saa kätte.
here comes
Ma mõtlen, kas see on mingit siukest...
Derek Brown.
Sorry?
They're lying, we're second.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We're thinking about the draw, about the run. Run is either this.
Run is just
Or
because
this.
we have so many rocks in the house.
Yes. But not sure, this might jam.
But,
Yes.
well, I think that might be as well, but that's super hard run.
Yeah. The only good run is basically if we just clip that one, right?
And yeah,
Get just through the port.
but that's giving us chances. If we don't make the freeze, then we don't have a shot with the last.
What do you think?
Just the pieces, but not enough
Just
to...
a piece. I think maximum this.
Okay.
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 Run yellow to yellow. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Harder than it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Nose. Nose is good. There.
Yeah, roughly.
Okay.
So called the run back here. I'm a bit surprised. I would think you just draw around here and
Yeah. Ma arvan, et kui midagi...
try to get your 2.
Natuke sinnapoole või?
Jah. Noh, ta peab puudutama ülemist
Ma saan aru, ma saan aru.
So even if you make the run back, pick off the top yellow, China can still draw and lie to, potentially not leave you a shot for the extra.
Kind of agrees, Ander. It wasn't the obvious call this to me. It's got to be played.
But this is, of course, taking a bit more risk, maybe trying to win the game. That works out okay.
Yeah, played it pretty well. We'll give them credit where credit is due. That's worked out pretty well. They've kept the guards there. I think they lie second and third now.
So it does force China to make a really good shot here. Nice run back. So so the yellow's left at the top 12. The most important part here was to get second and third shot. Force China to draw in and lie to. If they leave an angle for a double, Maria Turman can score 3 and win the game. So I think they took high risk playing the run back.
As it lies, China lie 1. They could take the game away from Estonia by drawing the other side of the rings, leaving no double.
And this is where it gets a little tricky though, because I can't imagine they've played many draws to the swing in this game. This is a new path for Yang Ying.
Yeah, if they if they square them up perfectly, they could play to the center, they could play to the button. The shot stone is 1 stone behind the tee, so they just need to level it up in any direction. They don't need to be going too far out.
Needs to curl.
Yeah, they want this to curl now. Then I think getting it over the other side would be better. If you leave it flat or beyond the yellow.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably good enough.
I think that's maybe just gone deep. Can they get enough of the yellow, thick enough on the yellow to get across to the stone just played for their 3? If that's 1 stone further forward, I think for me would have been ideal. It's tough, there's not much there.
Yeah, hard to say.
Bottom left-hand side. Should square the shooter back to the yellow stone.
Last stone for Estonia. Is it the double? Is it there? Can Estonia see enough of the yellow stone? Big extension from Thurman.
Must be close. Has she got... Oh, no, she couldn't get enough.
Only catches the 1 yellow, so it is a steal of 1 for China. They took the high risk there, Estonia, to try and score the 3, win the game right here in the 8th end. It did not pay off. China with a very good draw to split the rings. And double looked hard, if possible, for Thurman. So that's the last stone played in this morning session, but we'll take a look around. And we'll just get confirmation that it's a 9-6 win for China and this Group B. So all Group B games this morning, and then the next session will be all Group A, and that's how it's been throughout the week. So pretty busy schedule for the teams, having to play every other draw. Some appreciation from coach Tomi Rantamäki. Putting a lot of funding into the sport. The Chinese, of course, leading up to the Olympic Games in Beijing. They're really hoping to medal at home in either discipline. They've brought in some external help. Tomi Rantamäki, also Peja Lindholm from Sweden. Showing that they're serious about curling. For Estonia, looking a bit grim. I think the hopes of playoffs is certainly out the window, and a direct place to the Olympic Games also looking like that's not going to happen for Estonia. Of course, they'll have another chance in the Olympic qualifying event. Just going to take a look back at one of the games we had this morning. Switzerland played Finland just next door to the Estonia-China game. So this is the last stone, or last stone for Finland anyway. Una Kausta. Switzerland had the power play, 2 points up. So Finland needing to make a shot to force Switzerland to play for the win. And just over curls, so leaves 1 Swiss counter. Jenny Perret not having to throw her last stone. Switzerland picks up the win, 8-5. They'll put that 1 point on the board, so 8-5 is the final score for Switzerland over Finland. We saw Norway with a very strong performance on England, 11-1 win. USA with a close encounter over New Zealand, but 6-5 win nonetheless. And our featured game this morning was, of course, Sweden-Japan, another win for Sweden. And we just saw the end of China-Estonia as well. China winning 9-6. So as we see, the ice makers now return to the field of play to prepare the ice for the next session. We're just going to get all the official scores in before we take a look at the standings. So I think they should be up to date. Sweden on top with 6 wins. Norway follow at 5-1. Switzerland, USA both at 4 wins, 2 losses. And then we have Japan, New Zealand at 3. China, 2 wins. England, Estonia and Finland just at the 1 and 5. Things are really shaping up. It's starting to see what teams will be in the making in the playoffs. I think Sweden seems to be a shoe-in. So that was a good curling action to start off the day for myself, Sander Rolvag, and Alan Chalmers. We thank you so much for watching. We hope you join us again for all remaining games.